If your TV ever turns on by itself at 2:17 a.m., do not change the channel. Because what people are seeing on Channel 7 isn't a glitch. It's watching back. And the worst part is, everyone who tried to prove it was fake stopped posting the next day. It started small. Just a few posts scattered across old forums, the kind of places people only go when something is wrong. Different users, different locations, different lives, but the same story. Their TVs were turning on by themselves. No remote, no timer, no explanation. And every single time, 2:17 a.m. At first, people ignored it, assumed it was a glitch. Power surge, signal interference, something explainable. But then the details started matching, too closely. They all described the same thing, not just static, something inside it. The colors didn't flicker like normal TV noise. They stretched, melted into each other, like the screen was trying to hold something in and failing. And in the center, a shape. Black, still, unmoving, with two eyes, wide, unblinking, watching. One user posted a detailed account. He said he woke up to the sound of static. Not loud, just enough to pull him out of sleep. He looked at his TV. It was on. Channel 7. He didn't remember turning it on. Didn't even remember falling asleep with it plugged in. But there it was. The figure. He said he watched it for about 10 seconds. Then something felt wrong. Not the image, not the sound. The feeling that it was looking back. Another person tried to ignore it, rolled over, closed their eyes. But the static didn't stop. It got louder. Not through the TV, through the room. Like it wasn't coming from a speaker anymore. Like it was just there, filling the space. They opened their eyes again. The figure hadn't moved. But something about it had changed. It felt closer. Someone decided to prove it was fake. They set up a camera, left it pointed at the TV overnight. 2:17 a.m. The screen flickered. Channel 7 appeared. The figure was there, exactly like everyone described. But the next morning, when they watched the footage back, the figure was gone. Just static. No shape, no eyes, nothing. The video got attention. People arguing, saying it was fake, saying it was real. Then one comment stood out. Pause at 0023. When they did, just for a frame, the eyes weren't centered anymore. They had moved. More people started watching. More reports came in. Different countries, different time zones. Still 2:17 a.m. local time, which shouldn't have been possible, but it was happening anyway. At first, it was just a hum, low, barely there. Then it got louder, clearer, more structured, like something was trying to speak and learning how. Until one night, it succeeded. The hum stopped, and a voice came through, flat, cold. You are watching. A clip surfaced the next day, taken down quickly, but not before someone downloaded it. They slowed it down, frame by frame, and what they found didn't make sense. The figure wasn't part of the signal. It didn't distort with the static. It didn't glitch. It stayed perfectly still while everything else moved, like it wasn't on the screen at all. People tried everything. turning off their TVs, unplugging them completely. It didn't matter. At 2:17, the broadcast still happened. Just somewhere else. Phones, laptops, security cameras, even reflections, mirrors, windows, dark screens. Anything that could show an image showed it. One person covered every screen in their house, turned everything off, sat in total darkness, waiting. 2:17 a.m. Nothing happened. For about 5 seconds. Then, they saw it. Not on a screen, but in the reflection of their window, behind them. The voice returned, clearer than before. You are watching. A pause. I am watching. That's when someone tried to live stream it, to prove it was fake. Thousands of people joined, watching, waiting. The streamer laughed. See? Nothing's gonna happen. 2:17 a.m. The screen behind him flickered. Channel 7 appeared. The figure was there again. But this time, it wasn't still. The eyes moved, locked onto him. The voice came through, not from the TV, from the room. You are not watching. I am. He turned around, slowly, and for one frame, the camera caught it. The same black shape, standing directly behind him. The stream cut instantly. The account disappeared. No clips, no archive, nothing. Not on TVs anymore, on screens, in reflections. And if you ever notice the colors bleeding through your display, don't try to record it. Don't try to prove it's fake. Because the last person who did wasn't watching the screen anymore. The screen was watching them. There's another case worse than this one, and it didn't involve a screen at all. There's another case worse than this one, and it didn't involve a screen at all. It happened in a house with no power, no TV, no phone signal, no internet. Just one family, alone during a storm. The kind of storm that makes the whole world feel cut off. Rain slamming the roof, windows shaking, lights gone. They said the outage started a little after 1 a.m. Nothing unusual at first, just darkness, candles, flashlights, waiting for the power to come back. But at exactly 2:17, the father heard static. Not electronic static, not exactly. More like a hiss, a dry, crackling sound, like sound without a source. He thought it was the storm, until his daughter asked, "Why is someone whispering?" They all went quiet, and then they heard it too. Faint, broken, like words trying to come through a wall. No one could make it out at first. Just the same pattern, over and over. A low, scraping whisper, almost rhythmic. The mother thought it was the radio, even though the batteries had died an hour earlier. She picked it up anyway. It was cold, too cold, and when she held it near her ear, the whisper stopped. For 1 second. Then something spoke. Not through the speaker, right behind it. "Turn it around." She dropped it. The battery cover snapped off. The back hit the floor. Nothing inside. No batteries. No power. Still whispering. That was the first sign that Channel 7 was never really a channel. People only called it that because that's how it first appeared. But whatever it was, it didn't need a screen. The screen was just the easiest way in. After that case was posted online, people started comparing details. Old reports, deleted threads, archived comments, things most people never would have connected. And once they did, a pattern emerged. Not just 2:17 a.m., not just the figure, a phrase. A phrase that kept appearing in every account, whether people remembered hearing it or not. Sometimes in recordings, sometimes in subtitles that no one added, sometimes written in places it shouldn't have been. Fogged mirrors, closed captioning, phone notes, even once in a printed receipt. The same line every time. Keep looking. At first it sounded like bait, like something trying to get attention. But the longer people studied the reports, the less it felt like an invitation, and more like an instruction. Because the people who looked away didn't always get away. Some still heard it, still dreamed about it, still woke up at 2:17 for weeks after the first incident. Like once it noticed you, that was enough. One man claimed he beat it. He posted a long thread explaining how he avoided it. No screens after midnight, no reflective surfaces uncovered, no staying awake past 2. For 9 nights, nothing happened. On the 10th night, he posted again. Just one sentence. It learned the rules. That was the last thing on the account. People started testing theories. Maybe it was tied to visibility, maybe to attention, maybe it needed to be observed to appear. That would explain why recordings failed, why live streams cut out, why screenshots came back distorted. Like it didn't want evidence. It wanted witnesses. And witnesses always described the same progression. First, the sound. Then the feeling. Then the certainty that something in the room had changed. Not moved, changed. Like the room had become a different version of itself, a version where it had always been there, just outside the edge of your vision, waiting for you to notice. There was one report people don't talk about much, because it sounds too impossible. A woman said she saw Channel 7 inside a dream. No TV, no screen, just a hallway. Long, dim, silent. At the end of it, a square of flickering light. She walked toward it, because in dreams, that's what you do. And as she got closer, she realized it wasn't a window. It was a television, sitting by itself at the end of the hall. Static humming. She tried to wake herself up. Couldn't. Then the figure appeared on the screen. Still, black, watching. And the voice said something no one had reported before. You brought me here. She woke up screaming at 2:17 a.m. Her bedroom TV was unplugged, but the screen was glowing anyway. After that story spread, people started asking a worse question. What if it doesn't come through devices? What if devices are just the warning sign? What if the real event starts when the signal is gone? That idea got laughed at first, until someone found an old manual for a local television station that used to broadcast on Channel 7. The building had been shut down for years, demolished according to public records. But buried in the scans of the manual, between equipment diagrams and maintenance logs, was a handwritten note. Not official, not typed, just scribbled in the margin of a page. Do not stay after 2:17. That should have been easy to dismiss, except the page it was written on was dated 19 years before the first online report. Then came the floor plan, an old blueprint of the station. Most of it looked normal. Control rooms, editing bays, storage. But underneath the main broadcast room, there was a lower level. No label, no access marked. Just a small square room directly beneath where the signal used to go out. And next to it, in faded pencil, one word: receiver. Nobody could confirm if the room was real, because the station was supposed to be gone. People searched maps, satellite images, public archives. The lot was empty, just cracked pavement and weeds. Until one person visited in person. He posted photos from outside the fence. Empty lot, collapsed concrete, nothing else. Then he uploaded one final image, a close-up of the ground. In the middle of the broken pavement, there was a rectangle of dark glass, like a screen, buried under the dirt, reflecting the sky. And in the reflection, something was standing next to him. The image spread fast, then vanished faster. Re-uploads got taken down, accounts disappeared, links went dead. And people started noticing something strange. Anyone who had saved the photo reported the same issue. At 2:17 a.m., the file size changed. Not by much, just enough to be noticed. And every night after that, it got a little bigger, as if something was being added, frame by frame, pixel by pixel, building toward an image that wasn't there before. Most people deleted it. Some couldn't. They said the trash folder brought it back. Cloud backups restored it. Airdropped copies returned. Like once you downloaded it, the image didn't belong to your device anymore. Your device belonged to it. That's when the theory changed again. Not a haunting, not a cursed channel, not an old broadcast. A signal implies distance, one place transmitting to another. But this didn't behave like distance. It behaved like recognition. Like the moment you noticed it, it noticed you back. And that created the connection. One former station employee actually came forward. Anonymous, of course. Said he worked maintenance the year the channel went dark. He wouldn't say much, just a few lines. Enough to make things worse. He claimed the problem started after a late-night test, a signal calibration. Routine work, nothing unusual. Until one of the monitors displayed something that wasn't being broadcast. A room. Not a studio, not any room in the building. Just a dark space with a chair in the middle. And on that chair, someone sitting perfectly still, facing away from the camera. They thought another feed had crossed into theirs. A prank, a pirate signal. Then the person in the chair stood up and turned around. The employee said that's when the oldest engineer in the room started screaming. Not because of what he saw, because he recognized it. He kept saying the same thing over and over. That's not the camera room. That's under us. The anonymous post ended there. No name, no proof, no follow-up. But people dug through public employment records anyway, trying to find who it could have been. They found 5 former staff members listed for that year. 3 had moved away, 1 had died, and 1 had no records after the shutdown at all. No tax filings, no address changes, no death certificate, nothing. Just absence, as if every system stopped updating him on the same day the channel ended. By then, the story had changed from creepy to dangerous. Process people weren't just curious anymore. They were obsessed, trying to locate the station, trying to trigger the signal, trying to see the full image. Forums filled with guides, fake instructions, made-up protection rituals, countdown posts. Most of them vanished, but not before a few people tested them. And the ones who claimed success all described something new. Not the figure, not static, a door, appearing somewhere it shouldn't, in a hallway that ended in a wall, in a basement with no extra room, in the reflection of a closet mirror. Always the same door, flat black, no knob, no frame, just there. And every single report said the same thing. At 2:17, it would open a crack. No one admitted to opening it all the way, but one recording was supposedly real, never uploaded publicly, only described by people who said they saw it before it vanished. The camera shows a bedroom, dark, silent, timestamp in the corner, 2:16:52. Nothing moves. Then the closet door in the back of the room changes. Not opens, not swings, changes. Its shape flattens, darkens, becomes that same black door. At 2:17:00, it cracks open, and from inside comes static. The person filming is breathing hard, whispering something. No one could agree on what. Then the gap opens wider, not enough to show what's behind it, just enough to show there is depth, far more depth than the wall should allow. And then a voice says, "You kept looking." The recording ends there. That line changed everything. Because up until then, the entity always sounded observational, detached, cold.
You are watching.
I am watching. But "you kept looking," that sounded personal. Like disappointment, or approval. Like reaching the end of a test. Now people avoid 2:17 for a different reason. Not because of the channel. Because of what might happen if the channel doesn't appear. Some say that's worse. If you hear static, you still have warning. If a screen turns on, you still have distance. But if everything stays quiet, if the room feels normal, too normal, and the air goes still, that might mean it's already closer. There's one detail that appears in only a handful of reports, but it might be the most important one. A smell. Not rot, not smoke, not ozone. Something dry, dusty, old. Like a room that hasn't been opened in years. That smell shows up right before the figure does, which would be easy to ignore, except for one thing. People have reported smelling it in places with no devices at all. An elevator, a stairwell, a school hallway after hours, a locked storage room. Then the same sequence, the silence, the pressure in the room, the feeling of being noticed, and somewhere nearby, a dark, reflective surface, a window, a microwave door, a turned-off monitor, a puddle. Just enough to catch a shape that doesn't belong there. One teacher said she saw it in the black screen of the classroom projector at exactly 2:17 during an overnight school event. She thought it was a student standing behind her, until she turned around and no one was there. When she looked back at the projector screen, the reflection was gone. But written across the whiteboard behind her, in handwriting that wasn't there before, were 3 words. Don't miss it. That message split people into 2 groups. Those who thought the entity wanted attention, and those who thought it wanted participation. Not just to be seen, to be followed, to be invited further in. Because watching is passive. Looking is a choice. And maybe that's the difference. Maybe Channel 7 was never trying to scare people away. Maybe it was teaching them how to see it. So if you wake up tonight and your room feels wrong, don't check the time right away. Don't reach for your phone. Don't look at the TV. Don't stare into any dark screen trying to catch movement, because that might be all it needs. One glance, 1 second of recognition, one moment where your brain stops saying, "That's nothing," and starts saying, "Wait." And if you do hear static, real faint, from somewhere it shouldn't be, don't follow it. If it sounds like it's in the hallway, stay in your room. If it sounds like it's downstairs, lock the door. If it sounds like it's right behind you, do not check. Because the newest reports all end the same way. Not with a scream, not with a disappearance, not even with a final post. Just one sentence, always sent at 2:18 a.m. from accounts that were active 1 minute earlier. No context, no explanation. Only this: it opened. And the people who received that message from a friend usually stop hearing from them after that. But a few do. A day later, a week later, sometimes longer. And when those missing people finally come back online, they don't talk about where they were. They don't answer questions. They don't deny anything. They don't explain the gaps. They just post clips. Short ones, dark ones, always with too much static. And if you brighten the frame, way in the back, you can see it. A chair, a room, and someone sitting perfectly still, facing away from the camera. There's only one thing they all caption the post with, the same words, every single time. Keep looking. And if this story gets enough attention, I'll tell you what people found written on the wall inside the room beneath the station. Because Channel 7 was only the beginning. And what was waiting underneath it was never being broadcast. It was waiting for someone to tune in.